The massive alien ship appeared without warning. One moment, Earth's deep space sensors showed nothing unusual. The next, a vessel larger than anything humanity had ever built materialized just beyond Mars' orbit. Its dark metal hull absorbed light rather than reflected it, making it look like a hole in space. Captain James Anderson stood on the bridge of the EDF Defender, Earth's most advanced warship, watching the alien vessel grow larger on his view screen. His palm felt sweaty against the command chair's armrest, but his voice remained steady as he addressed his crew. "All stations, report status," he ordered, his eyes never leaving the screen. "Weapons ready, shields at maximum." His tactical officer responded. "But sir, if that thing decides to fight, we're like a rowboat next to an aircraft carrier." Anderson nodded. The size difference was shocking. Their best ship looked like a toy next to the alien vessel. But humanity hadn't survived this long by backing down from challenges. The alien ship's surface rippled, and a beam of green light shot out, materializing into a holographic message visible to every human on Earth and in space. A figure appeared, tall with metallic skin and multiple eyes arranged in a circle around its head. When it spoke, its words were automatically translated into every human language. "Lesser species of Sol 3, the alien announced, its tone dripping with contempt. "I am High Commander Vale of the Imperium. Your civilization has been deemed worthy of inclusion in our grand empire. Consider this an honor." Anderson exchanged glances with his communications officer, who was already recording everything. They had prepared for first contact, but not like this. "I am Captain James Anderson of the Earth Defense Force," he responded, activating the ship's broadcast system. "We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we are not interested in submission to any empire." A sound like grinding metal emerged from the alien, perhaps their version of laughter. "You misunderstand, primitive one. This is not a negotiation. This is a demand. The Imperium requires tribute from all its subject species." The hologram shifted, showing images of vast mining operations on different worlds and lines of humanoid figures being herded into ships. "Your annual tribute will be 10% of your planet's resources and 1 million of your population for our workforce. Compliance is mandatory. Resistance means extinction." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Anderson's fingers tightened on his chair. "And if we refuse, then your species dies. You have 48 Earth hours to begin tribute preparations. We will send coordinates for delivery." The hologram flickered. "Do not test our patience. The Imperium has erased civilizations far more advanced than yours." The transmission cut off. Anderson immediately opened a secure channel to Earth's Defense Command. "This is Anderson. You all saw that. We need an emergency council meeting." Within hours, the world's leaders gathered virtually. Panic spread through cities as the alien ship's message played on repeat across all channels. But in secret bunkers deep beneath the Earth's surface, other meetings were taking place. Director Emma Stone of the Global Defense Initiative accessed a secure facility beneath the Antarctic ice. Inside, rows of advanced weapons and ships waited. Technology reversed engineered from crashed alien vessels over the past 50 years. She turned to her assembled team. "This is what we've prepared for," she said, activating a holographic display of their hidden fleet. "The Imperium thinks we're primitive. They expect us to bow down or die fighting with basic weapons. They don't know about the gifts their fallen scouts left us." She smiled grimly. "Let them think we're helpless. Let them think we'll submit. When the time comes, they'll learn why humanity has survived every threat we've ever faced." In orbit, Captain Anderson watched the alien ship, his mind already working on battle strategies. Humanity had faced extinction-level threats before: ice ages, plagues, world wars, nuclear weapons, climate disasters. Each time, they had adapted and survived. The Imperium thought they were dealing with simple prey. They would soon learn that humanity had teeth and knew how to use them. High Commander Vale observed Earth through his ship's sensors, already counting the resources he would claim. Like so many conquerors before him, he had made a fatal mistake. He had assumed technological superiority meant victory was assured. He would learn, far too late, that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their absolute refusal to submit to tyranny. Deep beneath the red sands of Mars, Director Emma Stone walked through a massive underground hangar. Around her, hundreds of stealth ships sat ready for battle. Their black hulls were made of materials that absorbed both light and radar, making them nearly invisible to sensors. This was Project Phoenix, humanity's secret weapon. "How many ships are ready?" she asked the chief engineer beside her. 350 combat-ready vessels, Mom," he replied, checking his tablet. Each one carrying quantum torpedoes and gravity pulse cannons. The aliens won't know what hit them. Stone nodded, remembering how they'd reached this point. 30 years ago, an alien scout ship had crashed in the Arctic. Instead of announcing it to the world, several governments had worked together to hide and study it. That single ship had taught them more about space travel than centuries of research. More crashes followed over the years. Each one was quickly hidden away, its technology taken apart and studied. While the public thought humanity was just beginning to explore space, a secret fleet grew beneath the surface of Mars. "Director Stone," the voice called over the intercom. "The Imperium ship is broadcasting again." She hurried to the command center. On the main screen, High Commander Vale's metallic face appeared, looking even more arrogant than before. "Your time grows short," the alien announced. "We detect no movement of resources. Perhaps you need motivation." A beam of energy shot from his ship, turning a small asteroid into dust. "That could have been one of your cities." Stone smiled. The Imperium's weapons were impressive, but old-fashioned compared to what humanity had developed. While they relied on brute force, humans had learned to bend gravity itself. She opened a secure channel to military bases around Earth. "Begin Operation Ghost. Make it look good." Across the globe, governments publicly announced their submission to the Imperium. Large ships began launching from Earth, supposedly carrying the first tribute of resources and human workers. News channels showed people being loaded onto these ships, their faces afraid and defeated. But inside the ships, those same people were actually elite soldiers. The cargo containers were packed with weapons instead of resources. Each tribute ship was a trap, waiting to be sprung. In his office at the United Nations, the Secretary General made a show of signing an official surrender document. Camera crews broadcast it worldwide. Behind the scenes, military commanders winked at each other. The Imperium was falling for their act. Back on Mars, Director Stone entered a special vault. Inside, rows of small devices sat on shelves. Each one was a quantum core, the heart of humanity's most powerful weapons. They had reverse-engineered them from the alien ships, then made them better. "Load the cores into all ships," she ordered. "When the Imperium takes our tribute aboard their vessels, they'll be letting our weapons walk right through their front door." In orbit, Captain Anderson watched another tribute ship launch from Earth. Even he had to admit the act was convincing. The ships moved slowly, like they were heavy with resources. Their crews broadcast messages of fear and submission. The Imperium's sensors would see exactly what they expected: a defeated species surrendering its wealth. High Commander Vale watched with satisfaction as the first tribute ships approached his fleet. His sensors showed them full of valuable metals and organic life forms. Everything was proceeding as expected. These humans were like all other lesser species, quick to bow before superior power. He didn't notice the tiny energy signatures coming from the quantum cores, hidden behind false walls in the tribute ships. He didn't realize that every human worker being brought aboard was a trained soldier, and he certainly didn't know about the fleet of stealth ships waiting beneath Mars, ready to attack the moment humanity's trap was sprung. The Imperium thought they were watching humanity submit to their power. Instead, they were watching humanity prepare their destruction. Commander Thomas Reed stood in the cargo hold of Tribute Ship 7, surrounded by what appeared to be metal containers full of Earth's mineral wealth. In reality, Each container held weapons and soldiers. He checked his watch. 2 hours until they would dock with the Imperium's collection vessel. All units, final check, he whispered into his hidden communicator. Around him, other tribute workers touched their ears to acknowledge. They were all elite soldiers, chosen for this mission because they could act convincingly scared and weak. Through the ship's windows, he could see the massive Imperium vessel growing larger. It was beautiful in a terrifying way, like a giant metal spider waiting to catch its prey. Other tribute ships moved ahead of them in line, each one carrying its own secret cargo of weapons and warriors. Tribute Ship 7. A harsh alien voice came through the speakers. Prepare for inspection. Reed nodded to his people. Everyone slumped their shoulders and put on fearful expressions. The ship's door opened with a hiss, and 3 tall Imperium soldiers walked in. Their metallic skin gleamed under the lights, and their circular eyes moved independently, scanning everything. Resources in order, one alien said, checking the containers with a scanning device. The scanner showed exactly what they expected: precious metals and minerals. The quantum cores hidden inside were too advanced for their outdated equipment to detect. The lead alien grabbed Reed's chin, turning his head roughly. This one looks strong. He'll work well in the mining camps. Reed kept his eyes down, hiding his anger. Inside, he smiled. The Imperium's arrogance was making this almost too easy. After the inspection, their ship was cleared to dock. Reed watched through a porthole as they entered the massive collection vessel's cargo bay. Dozens of other tribute ships were already there, being unloaded by alien workers. None of them noticed that the scared humans were carefully counting steps, memorizing guard patterns, and noting defensive positions. In his hidden earpiece, Reed heard Director Stone's voice from Mars base. All ships in position. Quantum cores showing green. Begin final countdown. Reed looked around the cargo bay. Nearly 1,000 disguised soldiers were now aboard the Imperium vessel, along with hundreds of hidden quantum weapons. The aliens had been so focused on checking the metal and mineral content of the containers, they hadn't bothered to check for more advanced technology. Please proceed to processing, an alien guard ordered, pointing Reed's group toward a large door. They shuffled forward obediently, looking appropriately terrified. The guard smiled. At least, Reed thought it was a smile. It was hard to tell with their strange faces. See how easily they obey. The guard said to his companion in their own language, not knowing the humans could understand them through hidden translators. This species will make excellent slaves. Reed thought about the quantum core in his pocket, powerful enough to tear a hole in space itself. The Imperium thought they were getting slaves. Instead, they were letting an army walk right into their ship. High Commander Vale watched the unloading from his command center, pleased with how smoothly everything was going. Humans were proving to be surprisingly compliant. Perhaps he would only need to eliminate a few million of them to keep the rest in line. "Sir," one of his officers called, "the tribute ships are all docked. Should we begin processing the workers?" "Yes," Vale said. "Start with basic conditioning. Break their spirits quickly, and they'll serve better." The officer left to give the orders, never noticing the small smile on Reed's face as he was led past. In less than an hour, the processing would begin, but not the kind the Imperium was expecting. Throughout the collection vessel, hidden quantum cores pulsed silently, waiting for the signal. Disguised soldiers gripped concealed weapons, ready to transform from frightened tributes into deadly warriors. The greatest deception in human history was about to become the Imperium's worst nightmare. Admiral Mary Wilson sat in her command chair aboard the hidden Earth battleship Thunder, concealed behind Mars. Her fingers hovered over the control panel as she watched the countdown timer. All ships, prepare for attack. The moment those quantum cores activate, launch everything we have. Inside the Imperium's collection vessel, Commander Reed touched the small device in his pocket. Around him, other disguised soldiers did the same. The aliens had herded them into a large processing chamber, where they planned to begin conditioning their new slaves. Begin the conditioning process, an alien supervisor ordered. Full pain settings. Let them learn their new place quickly. Reed smiled. Actually, he said in perfect Imperial language, I think it's time for your lesson instead. Before the confused alien could respond, Reed pressed his quantum core. Throughout the massive ship, hundreds of other cores activated simultaneously. The air itself seemed to tear apart as miniature black holes appeared and disappeared in controlled bursts, ripping through the Imperium's defenses like paper. What's happening? High Commander Vale shouted as alarms blared through his ship. Where are these energy signatures coming from? The tribute ships, an officer screamed. The humans. They're not workers, they're soldiers. The scared humans suddenly stood straight, their fearful expressions replaced with fierce determination. Hidden panels in the tribute containers sprang open, revealing racks of advanced weapons. Reed grabbed a gravity pulse rifle and fired, the weapon's blast turning 3 alien guards into atoms. All units, execute, he commanded. Throughout the ship, human soldiers emerged from their hiding places, armed with weapons the Imperium had never seen before. The aliens' energy shields, designed to stop conventional weapons, did nothing against quantum-based attacks. Outside, Admiral Wilson gave the order. All ships to cloak and attack. The space around Mars suddenly filled with warships as humanity's hidden fleet revealed itself. 350 vessels, each carrying weapons reverse-engineered from crashed alien ships, opened fire on the surprised Imperium fleet. Impossible. Vale watched in horror as his ships began exploding. Their technology. They couldn't have. They're primitives. Primitives who learned from your mistakes. Wilson's voice came through all channels. The thunder emerged from behind Mars, its quantum cannons glowing. You should have checked those crash sites more carefully. Inside the collection vessel, the battle turned into chaos. Reed's soldiers moved with practiced precision, using their quantum weapons to devastating effect. The aliens' superior numbers meant nothing against weapons that could manipulate gravity itself. Engineering is secured, one team reported. Bridge access obtained, called another. Reactor control is ours, the third team announced. The Imperium troops found themselves trapped between internal attackers and external bombardment. Their own weapons, while powerful, were useless against quantum-shielded humans. Years of relying on intimidation had left them unprepared for real combat. Sir, an alien officer called to Vale. The humans, they're not just fighting back, they're winning. Vale stared at his tactical display in disbelief. Half his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. The humans had turned his own collection vessel into a death trap for his forces, and now their hidden fleet was tearing through his remaining ships like they were made of glass. Admiral Wilson watched with grim satisfaction as another Imperium ship exploded. Send word to Earth. Operation Thunderstorm is a success. Launch the second wave. More ships appeared from behind Earth's moon, fresh and ready for battle. The Imperium fleet, already in chaos, began to break formation. Some ships tried to flee, only to find their engines disabled by precisely targeted quantum strikes. On the collection vessel's bridge, Reed and his team fought their way toward the command center. Through the windows, they could see the space battle unfolding. Humanity's dark ships moving with deadly grace, their quantum weapons flashing like artificial lightning. The lesson was clear. Humanity had not submitted. They had waited. They had prepared. And now, they would show the Imperium exactly why you should never mistake patience for weakness. Major William Clark watched from his command vehicle as human forces pushed across the red Martian sand. Ahead of them, an Imperium base burned, its once mighty walls broken by quantum weapons. The aliens had built it in secret, thinking Mars was uninhabited. They never suspected humans had been watching them from underground the whole time. Third Squad, move up, he ordered. Watch for survivors. These aliens don't surrender easily. The battle for Mars had been raging for 3 days. After their surprise attack destroyed half the Imperium fleet, Humanity had launched a full assault on the alien forces in their solar system. The Imperium's response had been fierce but disorganized. In orbit above them, the space battle continued. Human ships darted between larger alien vessels, their quantum weapons tearing holes in enemy shields. The Imperium still had numbers on their side, but numbers meant little against humanity's advanced technology. "Major," one of his soldiers called out, "we found something in their base. You need to see this." Clark followed the soldier into the broken alien structure. Inside, they found rows of strange pods, each containing different alien species. Some looked peaceful, as if sleeping. Others showed signs of pain. "They're test subjects," his science officer explained, checking readings on her tablet. The Imperium was experimenting on other species here, trying to find better ways to control them. Clark's jaw tightened. "Send this to command. The whole galaxy needs to see what these monsters really are." Above Mars, Admiral Wilson's fleet engaged another wave of Imperium reinforcements. The aliens had called in ships from nearby star systems, hoping to overwhelm Earth's defenders with sheer numbers. "They're targeting our quantum shield generators," her tactical officer reported. "They're learning." Wilson nodded. The Imperium wasn't stupid, just arrogant. Once they realized they were facing superior technology, they began adapting. But humanity had planned for this too. "Launch the drone swarms," she ordered. Thousands of small, unmanned ships shot from the human vessels. Each one carried a tiny quantum core, making them nearly impossible to hit. The alien ships found themselves surrounded by clouds of deadly machines, each one capable of burning through their hulls. Back on Earth, Director Stone monitored the battles from her underground command center. Reports came in from across the solar system. Human forces had taken Mercury, using its proximity to the sun to power massive energy weapons. The ice mines of Europa had become forward bases for Earth's fleet. Even Pluto hosted automated defense platforms, ready to strike at any Imperium ship that tried to enter the solar system. "Director," her aide called out, "the Imperium is broadcasting on all frequencies." The metallic face of High Commander Vale appeared on screens throughout the solar system. His usual arrogance was gone, replaced by cold fury. "You dare," he snarled. "You dare to resist us, to strike against the Imperium. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. We have destroyed civilizations far greater than yours." Stone allowed herself a small smile. "Perhaps," she responded, broadcasting to all ships and bases. "But those civilizations made the same mistake you did. They thought being older meant being better. They never imagined that a younger species could learn from their failures." She pressed a button, sending new orders to all human forces. "You came to our home and demanded tribute. Instead, we'll take everything you have. Humanity won't stop at defending our solar system. We're coming for your empire." On Mars, Major Clark watched more human ships arrive through quantum space gates, another technology stolen from crashed alien vessels and improved upon. Each ship carried soldiers and weapons, ready to take the fight to the Imperium's home systems. The aliens had wanted to make humanity bow down. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant. Now, the galaxy would learn what humans did to those who threatened their freedom. They didn't just fight back. They annihilated the threat completely. Lieutenant Lisa Cooper moved silently through the captured Imperium command ship's data center. Around her, massive servers hummed, storing the secrets of an empire that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. As Earth's best computer expert, she had been chosen to break into these systems and uncover the Imperium's weaknesses. "How's it going?" Commander Reed's voice came through her earpiece. His teams had secured the ship 2 days ago, giving her full access to its computers. "Almost there," she replied, her fingers flying over the alien keyboard. The symbols were strange, but the logic behind them was familiar. "Their security is impressive, but not as good as they think." A sudden chime indicated success. Data began flowing across her screen, millions of files, reports, and records spanning centuries. As she read, her eyes widened. "Commander," she called, "you need to see this. The Imperium. They've been lying. About everything." The files told an incredible story. The Imperium hadn't developed their technology themselves. They had stolen it, piece by piece, from other civilizations. Their entire empire was built on theft and deception. "Look at this," she pointed to a file as Reed joined her. 10,000 years ago, they were barely more advanced than we are now. Then they found a crashed ship from a much more advanced species. Instead of learning from it slowly like we did, they stole everything at once. More files revealed the pattern. The Imperium would find developing civilizations, study them in secret, and steal any unique technology they developed. Then they would attack, using their stolen weapons to force submission. They kept their subject species separated, never letting them learn from each other. That's why their weapons and ships don't quite match, Reed realized. Different pieces from different species, never fully integrated. They don't actually understand how most of their technology works. Cooper nodded, digging deeper into the files. They're not masters of advanced technology. They're just really good thieves. And look at this. They're terrified of species that develop too quickly. Species like us. She pulled up another file, showing the Imperium's first observations of Earth. They had watched humans develop from primitive technology to spaceflight in just a few centuries. It had taken the Imperium twice as long to make similar progress. "They attacked us because they were scared," Reed said. "They saw how fast we were advancing and knew we might surpass them." "It gets better," Cooper smiled. "Remember those crashed ships we found? The ones that taught us about quantum technology? They weren't accidents. They were from other enslaved species, trying to warn us, trying to give us a fighting chance." The data showed how the Imperium had lost several scout ships near Earth over the decades. Each time, they assumed the crashes were accidents. They never suspected that their own slaves were secretly working against them, deliberately dropping breadcrumbs of advanced technology where humans would find them. "Their entire empire is built on sand," Cooper said, downloading the files. "They rule through fear and stolen power. And now we can prove it to everyone they've enslaved." Reed immediately contacted Earth Command. Within hours, the data was being broadcast on all frequencies, translated into thousands of alien languages. The Imperium's deepest secret was exposed to the galaxy. On planets across Imperium space, enslaved species saw the truth. The beings they had feared for generations were frauds. Their mighty technology was stolen. Their power was borrowed. High Commander Vale watched in horror as his empire began to crumble. On 100 worlds, slave species rose up against their masters. Ships crewed by enslaved aliens turned their weapons on Imperium vessels. The carefully maintained lie of Imperium superiority shattered completely. And leading the charge were the humans, the young species that had not only survived the Imperium's attack, but had exposed their greatest deception to the galaxy. Their demand for tribute had backfired spectacularly. Instead of gaining new slaves, they had created the force that would destroy their empire forever. Admiral Wilson stood on the bridge of the Thunder, watching as Operation Thunderstorm unfolded across space. Hundreds of human ships, joined now by liberated alien vessels, surrounded the Imperium's home system. The final battle was about to begin. "All ships report ready," her tactical officer announced. "The freed species are in position. Their knowledge of Imperium defenses is proving invaluable." "Send the message," Wilson ordered. Her words went out to every ship in the massive fleet. "This is Admiral Wilson. The Imperium demanded tribute from humanity. Today we will give them our answer. Complete and total annihilation." The combined fleet moved forward. Human quantum weapons worked alongside technology from a dozen freed species. Each race had contributed something unique, weapons and defenses the Imperium had stolen from them generations ago. On their homeworld, High Commander Vale watched in despair as his empire crumbled. The supposedly primitive humans had not only resisted, they had united all his former slaves against him. Reports came in from across the galaxy as Imperium forces surrendered or were destroyed. "My lord," an officer reported, "the humans are broadcasting on all frequencies." Director Stone's face appeared on their screens. "High Commander," she said, "you came to Earth expecting tribute. Instead, you found justice. Your empire dies today, but something better will take its place." The battle was swift and decisive. Quantum weapons tore through the Imperium's defenses. Ships crewed by formerly enslaved species targeted their old masters with perfect accuracy, knowing every weakness in their stolen technology. Commander Reed led the ground assault on the Imperium's capital city. His forces included not just humans but warriors from every species the Imperium had oppressed. They fought with centuries of stored anger, finally free to strike back. "Push forward," Reed ordered as they advanced through the streets. "Show them what happens when you try to enslave the galaxy." In orbit, Wilson's fleet methodically dismantled the Imperium's defenses. The aliens had relied too long on fear and stolen technology. They had forgotten how to truly fight, how to innovate, how to adapt. Against the combined might of humanity and their freed allies, they stood no chance. Vale fled to his bunker deep beneath the capital, watching through security feeds as his world burned. Lieutenant Cooper's hack had disabled most of his advanced weapons, leaving him with only the technology his species had actually developed themselves, primitive compared to what humanity now wielded. The end came not with a massive explosion, but with a quiet surrender. Vale, the mighty High Commander of the Imperium, was found hiding in his bunker by Reed's forces. The alien leader looked small without his stolen power, just another being who had reached too far and fallen. In the aftermath, humanity emerged as a dominant force in the galaxy, but they remembered their own history and the help they had received. Instead of building an empire like the Imperium, they created an alliance. Every species was welcome, every voice heard, every technology shared and studied together. Director Stone stood in the Great Hall of the new Galactic Council, watching representatives from hundreds of species work together. The former slaves had become partners, each contributing their unique strengths to build something greater than the Imperium had ever been. The Imperium's greatest mistake, she told the assembled council, wasn't attacking Earth. It was believing that power comes from domination. True power comes from unity, from innovation, from the courage to face challenges together. Across the galaxy, former Imperium worlds transformed. The stolen technology was returned to its rightful creators. Trade and cultural exchange replaced tribute and slavery. A new age of peace and progress began. And on Earth, humanity looked to the stars with pride. They had not only defended themselves, they had freed a galaxy. The species that had been deemed worthy only of paying tribute had become the architects of a new era. The message to any future would-be conquerors was clear. Earth was not a place to find easy tribute. It was the home of a species that would fight back, that would unite others, that would answer threats not just with resistance, but with complete annihilation of any force that dared to threaten freedom in the galaxy.